Okay, Rockeyez would like to welcome platinum recording artist Tony Harnell. Hey, man, what's up? What's going on?
I'm good. How you doing, buddy?
Great.
It's been a while.
Great. Always a supporter of our site, supporter of melodic rock music, and just an all-around great guy. Let's start with like your early days. Do you feel your mother was a big influence on your vocal range and stuff like that?
You know, from a genetic standpoint, I suppose there's some truth to that. I don't know. I've been singing since I was 5 years old, and my influences have been incredibly wide-ranging. And I mean, my first hero was Glenn Campbell, believe it or not, when I was very young. And as I went forward from there and got into rock music, it was, the obvious early guys, Robert Plant or Elton John or whatever I was exposed to, a lot of Beatles, a lot of Paul McCartney. I think she was a big influence probably on my ear and on my ability to think about how I think about music, and probably a huge influence on my ability, just because I mean, she was singing when I was in her womb, and she was singing all the time when I was growing up. So I think that I developed a pretty good ear based on just listening to her all the time. And I never had any issues with pitch. I sang on pitch when I was 5 years old. I mean, sometimes I don't sing on pitch, but not because I can't hear it. It's because I can't. It's because I don't know, something's going on. Everybody has that. But I mean, in terms of being able to hear pitch, correctly. And I think a lot of it is just sort of being exposed to so much music at such a young age was a plus for me, for sure. And I think where I gravitated towards as a singer in my late teens, when I sort of made the decision at some point subconsciously that that's what I was going to do, I was definitely drawn to the extreme singers like Rob Halford and Robert Plant and all that stuff, the guys that were really pushing their voices. And I think that that's probably where her operatic influence came in as well, right? Because I was kind of able to connect the dots in some strange way and say, wow, listen to those guys. They're like really, like, that's special. That's crazy. That's not just singing a pop song. That's like really totally out there,
Right.
And it was kind of like part of my competitive thing growing up as well, being a surfer and a skater and going for extreme sports. And it was kind of extreme singing,
Right. Definitely.
So, yeah.
The competition in music compared to back in the day to now, there's a big difference. Is it a lot harder in the music world?
What music world? I mean, in all seriousness, it's an interesting time because I'm kind of like, I've kind of gone through the whole getting upset about it, and the downloading and not. I don't think anybody understood what was going on when it first started to happen. I think we were all just pissed off, and I think it's still a drag, that people just think that they're entitled to get free music when you work so hard to make it. I mean, I know right now I'm working on music, and I know how many hours I put in, and I know how much creativity goes into it. I know how much of a 24-hour process it is. So for somebody to just go, oh, that looks good, I think I'll have that,
right,
is definitely something that I think needs to be, fixed. On the other hand, it's gotten to a point where it's kind of up to the individual. If his ethics
right.
are such that he feels entitled to steal, which is basically what he's doing if he's taking music and not paying for it,
right.
then that's on him. I can't do much about that, and it's sort of the crowd mentality that we've gotten to, where people sort of feel that if the guy down the road does it, or if my buddy does it, then I guess it's okay if I do it, and all my friends are doing it. So not that dissimilar to the drug issue or any other issue that's going on today. But back to your question, I think that it's a completely different world, and I'm actually learning how to roll with it, because there is no other choice. I don't want to stop doing it. So it's not really a choice for me to stop doing it. I love it too much, and my fans that I have love that I love it and love me doing it. So I have to figure out how to make it work for myself and not bitch about it, but just kind of figure it out. And I think that that's what we're all, doing, those of us that love it. And I'll never hang up my guitar, so to speak, or hang up my voice, whatever you want to say.
Cool. Now you're working through PledgeMusic. How's that working out?
It was an experiment gone very well. Could have gone either way. I think that with our background, I think that my fan base is a little bit older, and they're not used to things like this. So the younger artists have been doing amazingly well with these fan-funded projects, because I think the younger fan base is more, they've grown up in the digital age and they've grown up with downloading. So it kind of makes more sense to them that an artist would reach out to their fans to make a record. And they have a deeper understanding of how the labels are kind of falling apart for the most, and that they really only serve the big pop artists like Katy Perry and so forth. Excuse me. So I think that I was really shocked. And what the most encouraging thing about it was, the thing I love about Pledge, first of all, I think all the fan-funded sites have their merits, but I think PledgeMusic, for me, was the one I chose because, well, I kind of was introduced to the guys that run the site, and they're right here in New York. I can call them. They're very hands-on. They don't. It's a classier way to do it because you don't disclose how much you're trying to raise, right, which I think is a great feature. You can see what the percentage is, but you never really see the amount. And I think that that's just a better way to go. I think the fans are a little turned off when they see an amount there. They shouldn't be necessarily, but I can understand how it could go that way. So it went very well, and one of the most encouraging things was such a small percentage of my fan base was willing to get on board and go for it and raised what we were looking to raise, which was not a small amount for an EP, not a huge amount either, but certainly within the ballpark of what a label would have given me. The difference, though, is that I can record the record I want to record, and I don't have to pander or worry about what the label wants me to do. Because there are labels I can work with. I can send an email right now and make a record with a couple of companies, and I know exactly what they want. And I'll probably be doing a couple of those projects this year because I have to work. So I consider that a better way to work than doing something that is not music. You know what I mean? So, and it's a good way for me to make music for some of my fan base that only likes when I do a certain very narrow sort of musical style. But this gave me complete freedom, and it sends a very strong message, I think, out to the record labels that me as an artist, that with a very small number of fans, I can raise enough money to make music, and I can keep that going forever. And also, just to make it really clear, people are not just donating money to me to make music. It's like they're getting to be a part of an experience.
Right.
And if they're going to buy the thing anyway later, which hopefully they will, whether it's the download or the CD, they can do that and not experience any of this. But if they want to get in on board with this thing, it's backed, by the way, it's still running. It's still an ongoing campaign, and it's going to run until the beginning of March when the digital release comes out. And the great thing about the fact that we reached our goal in under 60 days, actually reached it in 40 days, is that from that moment forward, all the money that comes in now, 20% of it goes to my charity. And if we really start to do well, I'll probably up that percentage that goes to them, because they're an amazing charity. They specialize in a form of breast cancer, which my mother died from, which is a very under-researched kind of breast cancer, which ironically is the most deadly kind. And this particular organization called Medivivor, which is kind of short for metastatic cancer survivor, metastatic breast cancer survivor. All of the money they receive goes for research. And so they're completely 100% nonprofit, and it's run by all women who have the disease. And I was on the phone with all of them, and they're amazing, amazing women. So I feel like it's a charity my mother would be cheering me on to be a part of, as well.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah, people can go. Basically, if they want to check it out, they can go right now to the PledgeMusic to find out where my campaign is if they want to be a part of it. It's www.pledgemusic.com, and it's /projects/Tony Harnell.
Cool.
But if you just Google Pledge Music Tony Harnell, it should take you straight to the campaign site, and then you can sign up real fast from there and do as little as $8 for the download and get all the updates and catch up, which will take you a while. It's really fun. You'll get to see exclusive video clips and song clips and lyrics and little anecdotes, and it's very, very cool.
Cool. Can you tell me anything about the EP that you're working on right now?
I can tell you that, about 4 years ago, I started to play acoustic shows around New York. I was fascinated with my independent music buddies that had nothing to do with the hard rock world, and playing these small venues and watching them just get up with a guitar and be very captivating playing their songs. And I kind of thought, I wonder if I could, really do that. Sure, a lot of hard rock guys could grab an acoustic guitar and play, quote, acoustic shows, but they're generally not that exciting, and most of those songs don't translate very well if they don't kind of rework them a little bit.
Right.
So I grabbed a few of these friends, and that's how we made the Mercury Train record, is I said, let me take my favorite songs that I think will translate and rework them, possibly change keys just so I'm not screaming over softer music, and see what we can do. So we did, and for people that have heard that record, they know that the versions are, for the most part, very different from the original versions. The point being, I wanted to accentuate the melodies and the lyrics as part of what I contributed to the songs with TNT, and really kind of bring those out more and show how those things could stand on their own without all of the other stuff around it. And again, not to take anything away from the band, because obviously TNT was an amazing band, and Ronnie is an incredible guitar player, and I would have never written all those great songs had it not been that I was writing with him. So that led me into taking that for a while and working with those guys, and then I started to feel like I wanted to strip it down even more. So I sort of took the whole band away for a while, all good, still very good friends with everybody, but I brought it down to just Jason and I, the guitar player, and my wife. Mm-hmm. And so we started developing that, and then we brought in, this past year, we brought Cassandra in on violin, and that started to develop. And then Ron from Guns N' Roses, Bumblefoot, came in around the I don't remember, towards the fall, and decided to become a part of it because Jason didn't want to tour. So that's kind of the whole quick story. But the point being, I wanted to document what we were doing. Right. I was getting better and better at doing these kinds of shows, and it was becoming more and more fun. It really is a different animal. And like I say, people have seen artists from our genre go out and do acoustic shows, and a lot of them are great. Don't get me wrong. But it's a different art form, for sure. It's not, if people think, oh, you just get up with a guitar, it's so easy. It's not really that easy. You're totally naked. You have to rely 100% on singing and really delivering the songs, but also still performing in some way, even though you may be sitting on a stool or whatever the case may be. You have to put on some kind of show and really connect to the audience. You can't just kind of sit there with your head down and sing songs.
Right.
So over these 4 years, this thing has really, really developed, and I've really developed and develop this thing as an art form that I really enjoy and that the fans really enjoy. So the idea for the EP came about because we just started writing songs in this format with no drums, no bass, and I thought, I think we can make an exciting piece of music in that kind of, format, in that style, along the lines of what Crosby, Stills, and Nash were doing, say in the late 60s, early 70s with no drums, and just great driving guitar, acoustic guitar and vocals. And Zeppelin did a lot of stuff like that too. In fact, I'd say half of Zeppelin's music is acoustic driven. So with some light percussion and different things going on there. So that was kind of the goal, was to make a non-sleepy acoustic record that would be exciting and still have great vocals and harmonies and really cool guitar and stuff. So Jason got on board and started writing some amazing stuff and sending it to me, and off we went.
Cool. And you got a show coming up on the 18th at the Cutting Room in New York City. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's going to be the first real official show and kind of launch of the band with the new name, Tony Harnell and the Wildflowers, featuring Bumblefoot. We put the featuring Bumblefoot on there because of his obligations with Guns N' Roses. He'll be there whenever he can, and when he can't be, we'll have somebody else sitting in for him, so that doesn't stop the momentum of that. But the goal really is to get the record out, get as much publicity for it as possible. There might be a licensing deal that comes. Who knows what happens after it's finished. Get it up and running, do some shows, and then I'll start working on some rock, some full hard rock stuff again. I just want to get that really established so that it's always something that I can go back to and that people expect that I'll do both. I'll be out playing acoustic or electric, depending on what is happening.
Cool. Now, do you feel music was beneficial financially in your life through the years?
That's a good question. Not really. Not for me. I mean, we were the victims of ourselves. we were also the victims of the machine. Right. And when there was a lot of money coming in, we didn't see any of it.
Right.
So I mean, millions of dollars did flow through because of what we were doing. I mean, you can't sell somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million records without having money come in.
Right.
But we saw very little of it especially on the recording side or the record side. We did see some on the publishing side, but yeah, it's to answer your question, I've made more money doing things like television commercials, than I have doing the traditional things that you do as a musician.
Right.
But I'm aiming to change that. I think that this year I'm going to see some changes because I have some things planned in terms of live performing and so forth, and I'm going to couple projects I'm really excited about that I think will be successful. But if I were materialistic, like some friends of mine are, who
right.
I respect and love dearly, but everybody's got their priorities. Believe me, I'm definitely passionate and all about the art and all about the music. And yeah, sometimes I wish that the fan base I do have would come together a little bit more. And but there's a very amazingly supportive hardcore sort of core, I would say, a core to the base,
right.
which is extremely important to me. And I just would like to grow that because I know they're out there. You can't sell as many records as we did without having a lot of stray fans. So one of the things we're working on as part of the campaign is just to go out and pick up a lot of the people that have sort of forgotten or just lost touch along the way.
Cool, cool. Now, a lot of musicians shy away from politics and really giving their feelings, yet you're full blown out. You give your feelings on different forums. Does that take a different kind of person, or like whatever you want to call it?
I don't know.
I read your stuff, and sometimes you get pissed, you know?
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah.
It depends what happens, and it depends what happens, and it depends how I'm being challenged. I try not to be, though, you know, I'm not like, I wouldn't say that I'm extremely outspoken, and I really try to hold back from really giving my very, very deep views about, I wouldn't say politics is really something I talk a lot about.
No, right.
And I've gotten more and more careful about it as the years go on. I think that, although, you know, if people look through any, you know, like a year's worth of posts,
right.
I'm sure they can decide who I'm for and who I'm against, but or who I lean more with, you know.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm outspoken about some things. Sometimes I get challenged on it, and sometimes I get pissed off about things that are going on in the world, like everybody else does. Facebook's a difficult thing. I think I'm getting to the point where I'll probably be shying away a little bit more from that stuff, just because I can see that it doesn't really go with being an artist.
Right.
And I think that people judge people like us a little bit more harshly than they would an average person. So I think that I'm not in a position, like, say, if I was Bruce Springsteen or Bono or somebody who can really get out there and say, this is how I, you know, this is what I stand for, and not really affect his fan base. I'm not really at that position. So does that mean I'm afraid of losing fans because of what I say? Well, let's just say that I don't always receive the same respect that I give,
right,
to those, and I say that with love, but I say it both about my fan base and also about, you know, some of my friends.
Cool.
And that's kind of the way the world is. You know, you can give a lot of respect, and you can really be, you know, as sort of open to other people's points of view and whatever they feel about religion or politics or lifestyle or whatever. And I'm completely open with all of that. It's like, hey, man, whatever floats your boat and makes you happy. If you're a happy guy, then whatever you're doing is fine by me. If you're a miserable person, then maybe you should rethink what you're doing. You know?
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. Do you have anything else coming up you'd like to talk about?
I think the main thing is just pushing the PledgeMusic campaign. I'm thrilled that Bumblefoot is a part of it. We were able to do a show together, just the two of us, out in Las Vegas when they did their residency there last month, or in November rather, and it was really fun, really successful, and I have to say, for you know, for those who, just to give the band a little bit of a plug as well, for those who have not seen the new GNR lineup, or for those who are, you know, hardcore fans of the original lineup, do yourself a favor and go check out the band, especially right now. They seem to be on fire, especially at the moment, and the lineup is amazing. And, you know, I didn't know what I was going to see, and I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that Ron was incredible. But it's pretty spectacular. And to be honest, I've never heard Axl sing better. Cool. And he's singing way better than I remembered him singing in the 80s. And that could be because he's cleaned up. I have no idea why, but I was very, very impressed. But I'm thrilled to have Ron on board with me. He's very versatile. He's probably one of the best musicians, all-round musicians, I've ever worked with. He can play anything and sound authentic at it, whether it's the blues. He can shred more than the fastest shredder. He can play, it's really amazing. He can play jazz, blues, hard rock, metal, whatever. And he sings really good. Like, it's ridiculous how good the guy sings. So for those that don't know much about him, definitely Google Bumblefoot and check out his solo material, which is also amazing. And Of course, he played on Chinese Democracy, and he's got a ton of stuff going on out there. So I'm consider myself very lucky to have worked with somebody like Ronnie Latigro as, you know, kind of my gateway into the into most people's lives, and now have a guy like Ron by my side. And again, Jason Hagen, who's been my right-hand man playing acoustic guitar for the last 4 years, is an unknown local musician who is absolutely incredible. And I sort of just kind of stumbled upon him, you know, a few years ago, and just so I'm very lucky. I have a lot of great people around me, and all the Mercury Train guys.
Cool. Well, I definitely congratulate you on the upcoming EP and your show on the 18th of January at the Cutting Room. Everybody go to that show. You know? Yeah,
please. Tickets are on sale now. They can go find. Just Google Tony Harnell at the Cutting Room, January 18th, and it'll take you to the link. It's on Ticketfly, I believe, is the website which is selling tickets, and they're cheaper if you get them in advance. And it's not a big venue, so we expect it to be close to a sellout or sold out. And you will not be disappointed. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun, musically, how should I put it, versatile and eclectic show.
Cool. Tony, thanks a lot again. And, you know, you always support Rockeyez and stuff like that. Would you like to say anything to your fans out there?
I would just like to say thank you for all the years of support, and for those of you that are new to the party, welcome. And, you know, it's I just had a big birthday this year, and I'm excited as hell to start sort of what I call chapter 2 of my. I thought chapter 2 started a few times earlier, but I think this is the real chapter 2 of my life and my career, and I welcome everybody to come along on the ride with me.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Congratulations.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Take care.